Do you know who is Jesus? Jesus Christ, yes. And I'm sure you've heard that name at least once in your life, whether you're Christian, a Muslim, or from any other religion. And today it is undeniable that Jesus is the most popular and the most important figure of human history. And I know the one saying that is the Times magazine which says that. And I believe too that Jesus is the greatest entrepreneur ever. And I made a video, my recent video and the latest one, on 10 reasons why Jesus is the greatest entrepreneur. And I gave the first 5 reasons in the video why Jesus is the greatest entrepreneur. So in this video, I'm going to give you the second group of 5 reasons why Jesus is the greatest entrepreneur. But before we do that, please, I propose that you stop this video, go into the comment section, comment to us and tell us what type of videos you want to see on this vision, on this channel, what type of themes or what type of thematics you want us to treat on this channel, because we're trying to bring more value to you through the channels, through the videos that we make right here. And we talk about business, entrepreneurship, and mindset, as elements which are needed to take our continent where it is supposed to be. So I propose that you do that ASAP right now, and that you also like the videos. It could do very good, to our channel for us to grow even more. And subscribe if you're new here. Ready? Let's go right into it. The 6th reason why Jesus is the greatest entrepreneur is because he was a visionary. And having a vision is a characteristic that all entrepreneurs should be having. And if you know a little bit about aviation, or if you're a little bit exposed to aviation, you would definitely know about the Wright brothers, who created the first airplane in the year 1903. And by the time people were telling them, that they are crazy, like how can they build up something that can help them fly? But they had that vision of constructing something that could help people to move through air from one place to another. And a vision is extremely essential for any entrepreneur, for them to have the right drive, to go through things as they are supposed to be. And Jesus was the prototype of such a person. In fact, he is the greatest of all. He's the greatest and the greatest visionary of all times, because he came up with something that was never heard before. He came up with salvation which is abided by many people today, billions of Christians all around. Like I told you, we have more than 1.5 billion Christians all around the world today who tie themselves to salvation. And he was so influential with such a vision that he completely even changed the way we perceive time today. And on the Gregorian calendar, because today we use the Gregorian calendar, and it changed from that, because today we're talking about some years BC, BC, that's before Christ and after Christ and all this. And he was so influential with the vision that he brought about, that he completely changed even the way we perceive time, and became the most influential or the most known existence in human history. And for me, somebody with such a vision, someone who becomes the personalization of such a vision, is definitely the greatest entrepreneur ever. The 7th reason why Jesus is the greatest entrepreneur is because Jesus was betrayed. Well, many entrepreneurs will hardly talk about that side of entrepreneurship because it doesn't look so glamorous, as telling people how they make money. But it's actually a reality, and it is what happens, and it is what should happen. So if it doesn't happen in your entrepreneurial journey, you should probably know that you haven't reached a certain level. But that will definitely happen. We've all heard, and seen situations where people out of the country try to make projects in their respective country, that is back at home, and they leave responsibility to certain people to take care of that. And at times they even leave family responsible for that. But unfortunately, what we can observe is that in a lot of occasions, people betray the trust that has been put in them. Actually, they use the money or the materials that were supposed to be going in the construction or maybe the different type of businesses that they are, to make things really happen. And that's something that will definitely happen at certain point in time as we're growing up. And Jesus wasn't he wasn't an exception from that at all, because we had Judas who betrayed Jesus, because Jesus actually put a lot of trust in Judas, because Judas was responsible for the treasury. And generally, when you trust somebody with your money, it means you have a lot of trust in the person. And Judas did betray him just for some silver coins. But we're not only talking about Judas, because Peter did the same thing, and the other disciples, they all ran away. So Jesus was left on his own. But what did he do? He still decided to go on with his mission and do what he was supposed to do. And for somebody to still persevere after being betrayed and still move on to realize and to do what he is supposed to do is definitely, for me, the greatest entrepreneur. The eighth reason why I believe that Jesus is worthy of being called the greatest entrepreneur ever is because Jesus was an excellent orator, or a great communicator, if you want. Entrepreneurs solve problems. They solve problems by bringing about solutions that can solve the worries that customers or people might have in course of their days as they are living. But it is extremely important that an entrepreneur develop that ability to tell the customers or people what type of services or good they are providing that can solve their worries or their pains, as we usually call it in the language. That is something in which Jesus was excellent, and it was so amazing that when you're reading the Bible, you feel so captivated even just by reading it. But if you can if you can be captivated by just reading it, imagine how it was to people who were actually listening to what he was saying, because he commanded the attention of thousands of people all around him, and he knew the power of storytelling. That's why today we have in marketing, there's a lot of storytelling, and marketing uses a lot of storytelling, to convince people. And Jesus all knew about the power which was in storytelling, and he was using that through his parables, to influence, to help people understand better rather than sermoning them. I take that opportunity, that instance where there was a woman in the city that came to Jesus and anointed his feet and cleaned them with her hair. By the time Simon was so outraged, because he was like, oh my God, what's this sinful woman actually doing? But instead of Jesus reprimanding him or giving him a sermon, what Jesus did was that he actually told Simon Peter a story about the moneylender and the two debtors. So by doing that, Simon Peter was actually able to do a self-introspection and understand exactly what he was trying to do. So he used the storytelling to let him, understand better, rather than telling him, oh, this is how you're supposed to work and this is how you're not supposed to work. And for me, somebody who was able to do that on such a large scale, and by the time he didn't have any YouTube, any Facebook, any social media to help him do that. Another non-negligible aspect that qualifies Jesus to become the greatest entrepreneur ever is his courage. And for an entrepreneur to prevail and to build something strong over time, there's the need to have courage. A courage that can prevail, that can sustain any type of situation. And a good example is Mark Zuckerberg, who's founder of Facebook that we all know about today. And there are a lot of criticisms going about the way he runs Facebook and the way Facebook actually makes money. But you have to imagine that you come on a platform, you create an account, and you're able to discuss, interact with your siblings, your friends, and relatives through the different functions made available to you on the platform. But you have to understand too how the Facebook engineers actually feed your families, how they take care of their families. And once you think like that, you understand probably the reasons why they need to operate in a certain way. And that brings a lot of criticisms. Of course, it might not always be advantageous to the users, but it is the way it is. It is business, and it has to go on because it is doing a lot of good too. Now, when we come to the case of Jesus, we realize that Jesus literally put his life for the vision, and the idea that he had about salvation, about people being saved, and he constantly had the statement, or the sentence about him being the Son of God, and that was until he died. He was even, I'm sure that if he was given the opportunity to refuse, to say, okay, I am not the Son of God, probably his life would have been saved. If he did that, I'm sure his life would have been saved, and we wouldn't be talking about him the way we're talking about him today. Because occasion, opportunity was actually given to him by Pilate, and even in face of death, he still stood right in his shoes, and telling people that I am the Son of God. I have come, on this planet to die for your sins, so that you might be able to, all of that. I'm not going to give you a whole service right here or a whole sermon about it, but we already know what salvation is all about, what the idea is all about, and why he came for. And it shows a lot of things about Jesus, about his courage, because many people don't see that courage into him. They see the good teacher, they see the nice person that comes, and take care of people, but they hardly see the courageous part of Jesus. And it's for somebody to actually put his line for his ideologies, for his beliefs, that is definitely the greatest entrepreneur ever. And the last aspect that qualifies Jesus as the greatest entrepreneur ever is his decisiveness. And generally, the entrepreneurship is being recognized as a world of uncertainty. That is, you face a number of problems, you face a number of situations that come that you didn't prepare for, but you have to face them and you have to respond to them. Therefore, the ability to take decisions pretty fast will make or break your businesses or your entrepreneurial journeys. And that's why actually differentiates a big entrepreneur and small entrepreneurs. And Jesus was very good at taking decisions pretty fast, because we have that instance when he finds himself in the temple, and he realized that there's some people all around that are selling stuffs, and even in the temple there are people selling stuff. So what does he decide to do? He decides to take a whip and to send them all away and to throw the stones down. But it doesn't just limit itself to places. He does the same thing with his disciples, because we have Peter who tells him that he's not going to die. That the people have to pass through him before they could reach him. He tells them, "Away from me, Satan." He tells him, "Away from me, Satan." And that shows something. It first of all takes away that image of the good and the happy Jesus every time, and the kind Jesus, but also a decisive Jesus. A Jesus that doesn't let the little things slip away, because he knows that if you let little stuff to slip away, it will result in bigger disaster, in a bigger disaster. And he dealt with every single thing, whether they were awaited for or not. And that shows quality, to become a great entrepreneur. And for me, that's definitely one of the greatest skills or qualities that an entrepreneur should have, and Jesus dealt with it exactly as it was supposed to be done. And we can see the fruits of it today, with churches being spread all around. And for me, that qualifies him as the greatest entrepreneur ever. So we're coming to the end of this video. Please, in the comment bar, let us know what you think about this video. But most important, let us know what type of topics you want us to make videos on, so that we can really respond to your worries, and create value in your life, because that's what we're trying to do in this YouTube channel. And also, if you like the content that we publish, that we make available here, like the videos. And if you're new, subscribe and keep yourself updated with all the content that we publish every single week, as we discuss and as we share experiences, be it in business, entrepreneurship, and having the right mindset. See you in the next video. Ciao.